Just thinking you're naked.
Stop. Stop. Stop it. Right, okay. Hey guys, welcome back to the Big Gay Lifestyle. Thank you very much for joining us today. If you are brand new here, then welcome. If you are not, welcome back. So today's video is just going to be a very simple March favourites. So I'm just going to talk about all the things that I have really been reaching for and enjoying for the month of March. So we're going to keep this very short and sweet and get straight on with the video. So we have a nice little selection of products to go through today, and the first thing I want to start off with is primers. Now there are two that I have been reaching for quite frequently during the month of March. The first one is incredibly expensive, the second one not so much. Now the first primer I'm going to talk about is this one. This is the Guerlain Law Radiance Glow Foundation. Now this one cost £45. I picked this up from House of Fraser, and I bought this one because I had seen Tati talking about it, Jeffree Star talk about it, and they both said it was amazing, incredible, and you know, I just had to give it a try to see whether it was actually worth all the hype. And I have to say, I don't know exactly what this does. It's a bottle of magic as far as I'm concerned. Every time I've used this, my foundation has applied really, really nicely. It has lasted all day, and it does give a little bit of a glow underneath the skin as well. But it is £45. That is quite expensive for a primer. But I have been using it for a while, and I don't know whether you can see, we've really barely touched it. We've still got loads of product left. So it's definitely going to last a while. I do just think perhaps maybe it's a little bit of a gimmick, just because it obviously had the 24 karat gold flakes in there, but it smells beautiful, and every time I've used this, I have had a fantastic makeup day, so I'm gonna continue using it, and yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. For those of you that are on a budget, the next primer that I want to talk about is probably gonna be right up your alley, and that's this little fella. So this is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Mineral Infused Face Primer. I picked this one up for £7.50 from my local Superdrug store, and I have to say, for a drugstore primer, I'm really surprised at how well this works. Now this is a dimethicone based primer, so a silicone based primer. The reason I love this one in particular is, unlike other silicone primers that I have used, this one doesn't break me out. So I've used things like the Benefit Professional, and every time I've used that one, I have broken out on my nose quite severely. But with this one, this has not happened yet. This does give a really smooth base, it blurs the fine lines, and I have to say again, for £7.50, this is a wonderful primer, and if you are looking for something on a budget, I would definitely consider picking one of these up. So now we're going to move on to foundation, and of course I couldn't do a March favourites video without mentioning the Dior Forever foundation. Now I discovered this one towards the end of February, beginning of March, and it has changed my foundation game for the better. I don't know what it is about this particular foundation, but it just seems to work with my skin so well. Every time I've worn this, it has lasted for at least 12 hours. It does give my skin like a really nice semi-matte finish, but it doesn't feel cakey, it doesn't feel heavy, and it still feels like my skin when I look at it. But this is £35, so again, it is a more expensive foundation, but a little does go a long way. It offers fantastic coverage, and for myself, where I have the rosacea and the redness, it does a fantastic job of evening out my skin tone, and I'm currently wearing this foundation right now, just because this makes me feel so confident and so happy. So for those that are looking for a luxury foundation, you cannot go wrong with the Dior Skin Forever. For those interested, I am using the shade 020, which I believe is light beige. And I do like to mix that up with the powder version as well, which I use in a slightly darker shade, just to kind of set everything, and it just gives everything just a slightly blurred finish, which I love. The drugstore have definitely been upping their game when it comes to products, and one of the foundations that I picked up recently that really surprised me was the Revolution Fast Base Foundation Sticks. Now these retail for £5 each, and you can get these from Revolution Beauty or from Superdrug. Now, it took me ages to get hold of these because they kept selling out of my shade, and I can understand why. The internet went crazy for these, saying that they were offering fantastic coverage at an affordable price, so naturally I had to give it a try. Now, I've never used a stick foundation before, so I didn't really know kind of what to expect with these, but I have to agree, the coverage they give is amazing. I would say it's kind of medium to full coverage, but definitely buildable. They last for about 6 to 8 hours on my skin, and the shade range is fantastic. They offered 18 different shades, so for a drugstore brand to come with 18 shades, I think is fantastic. I'm currently using the shade F4, but I do mix in shade F6 as well. The main reason being that the F4 is a little bit more on the yellow side, the F6 is a little bit more on the pink side, so when mixed together, it does give me a fantastic base. It looks wonderful, it doesn't feel too heavy or cakey on the skin. My only issue is it does tend to drift away on my nose a lot quicker than it does with any other foundation, but I think that's because these are a cream rather than a liquid, and where my nose is a little bit more on the oily side, it does just seem to fade away a little bit quicker there. But touch-ups with powder have kind of helped prolong that. So I have to say, for £5, if you've never tried a stick foundation, I would definitely consider having a look at these the next time you're in Superdrug. So we're going to stay with the drugstore and the more affordable brands for the next couple of items. We're going to talk about concealers. Now, we've just talked about the Revolution Fast Base Foundation Sticks, so now we're going to talk about this. So this is the Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. Now, this is £4, and again, this sold out so quickly that it took me ages to get hold of my shade. But this has been classed as a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape, which I have used. Do I agree? Not really. I think the Shape Tape does offer slightly more coverage, but this one does work very, very well. I don't notice too much creasing. It provides an excellent amount of coverage, and the main reason I use concealer is purely just to conceal the dark circles under my eyes. I don't use it for highlighting or anything like that. So I use the shade C4, which matches my foundation, and it just gives me that extra bit of coverage just to hide the fact that I don't sleep very well, and it does a fair enough job for something that is only £4. So again, if you are looking for a budget concealer, I can definitely recommend the Revolution Conceal and Define, which again, like the foundation, comes in 18 shades, and they are launching another 8, I believe, next week. So there's going to be even more, which I think is fantastic. The next concealer I want to talk about comes from Colourpop, and this is the No Filter Concealer. Now this retails for $6, and again, I have to say I've been very impressed with how well such a cheap concealer has actually worked. And again, like the Revolution Conceal and Define, they have just launched a whole bunch of new shades. So I believe there are now around about 30 to 40 shades of concealer, which I think is incredible. Now I am wearing this one today. I use 2 shades. I use the Light Neutral 15 and the Light 20. I currently have the Light 20 on today. And again, like the Conceal and Define, I use that concealer purely just to cover up my dark circles, and I think again it does a fantastic job. It doesn't crease, although I do notice this one does enhance my texture ever so slightly, but it's not something that I find to be too much of an issue. And again, for something that's only $6, I can definitely recommend checking out the Colourpop No Filter Concealer. Next up, I want to talk about eyeshadows, and there are a few palettes that I have been reaching for almost religiously. Some of them are a bit more expensive, others are dead cheap. So I'm going to start with the more expensive one, and that is the Naked Heat palette. Now I know it's not new, it has been around for a while, but it's something that I have been reaching for a lot recently, just because I cannot get enough of the warm tone colours that are in this palette. Now, when it comes to eyeshadows, I am a basic bitch. I generally tend to go for the warms, the neutrals, so your browns, your purples, your reds. And the Heat palette was the first proper eyeshadow palette that I bought. I neglected it for a little bit. This past month, I have come back to it, and again, I have just fallen in love with it all over again. But I do appreciate it is a £40 palette. So for those of you that are looking for something a bit more on a budget, I did review this recently on the blog, and we have the Makeup Revolution Neutrals versus Neutrals eyeshadow palette, which I think has a very similar colour story to the Naked Heat. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think it's a close match, and this palette only costs $6.99. The formula is wonderful, they do blend out really nicely. There's a little bit more fallout with the Revolution palette than there is with the Urban Decay one, but that's to be expected from something that is a little bit more affordable. But if you've ever wanted to try the Heat palette but aren't sure whether the colours are right for you, the Neutrals versus Neutrals palette is definitely worth looking into. And again, at only £7, what can you lose? Just going to go back to Colourpop again, and there are two mini palettes that I have been obsessed with ever since I placed my first order with them back in February, and they are these little fellas. Now these are mini quad palettes. We have the low key palette, which is this little fella, and then we have the high maintenance palette, which is this one. Now these were $12 a piece. They come with 4 shadows, and they come in this mini compact, which does have a little mirror as well, so it's perfect travel size. Now the reason I went for these ones is because, and as you can tell, they have the warm tones that I love, and of course I already have these shades in about 20 other palettes, but this one is travel friendly. Now I love the low key palette purely because this one is essentially a look in one palette. You have a nice transition shade, a crease shade, something for your outer corner, and then something to pop all over the lid. Pops in your makeup bag really, really easily, and that is one look ready to go. The high maintenance palette, not as much. You've got your 2 matte shades, your 2 shimmer shades, but I think if you combine the 2 palettes together, you know, I do think you have a lot of looks that you can work with. And I said for $12, you know, these are, again, really affordable. The formula is really good. They blend out really nicely, and they are really pigmented as well. So I'm really looking forward to trying out some more of the Colourpop eyeshadows. But that's for another video. I feel like I need to apologise for the next one because I don't have a drugstore alternative to it yet. But I couldn't do a March favourites without talking about the Anastasia highlight. So this, of course, again, broke the internet. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Amrezy highlight. And when you look at it, I mean, how can you not love this? This is what I'm wearing today. So hopefully you can see the glow. I've gone a little bit softer than I would normally, just because we do have the bright ring light in front of me. But this, it's beautiful. The formula is buttery. It blends onto the skin really, really nicely, and it suits a wide variety of skin tones. So if you are on the pale side, you can just go in lightly and it just gives a nice glow. If you've got darker skin, you can really build it up for a really intense highlight. It is £29. But it's the best £29 I've spent on a highlighter in a long time, and I will be wearing this all through the summer, all through the winter. I may even have to stock up on a few more because I believe this is limited edition. So if you are on the market for a luxury highlighter, then I definitely think you should consider the Anastasia Amrezy highlight. We're almost done, just a couple more products to talk about, and the next one, Luxe lipsticks. Now these are from Colourpop. Yes, there is a little bit of a theme. I've only just discovered them. Give me a break, okay? The Luxe lipsticks, again, kept selling out, but I was finally able to get hold of some, and I'm really glad I did. Now, I am someone who generally tends to prefer liquid lipsticks just because I do want the colour to last for as long as possible. But the Luxe lipsticks have definitely converted me into trying out more regular bullet styles. First of all, the packaging is just incredible. I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to see this because the light is so bright, but they have this rose gold plastic finish. The lipstick itself has little stars kind of embedded into it. It's just the little touches that just kind of sells this as a luxury lipstick, even though they're only $7 a piece. The formula is wonderful. They glide onto your lips like butter. They're hydrating, but they do dry down to a really nice matte finish. Now, they're not completely transfer proof. I've had this shade on for a little while now, so you can still see there is a little bit of transfer, but nowhere near as much as I would have expected. The colour still looks fantastic on the lips, and even though my lips are a little bit more on the dry side, it doesn't enhance the dryness, and it just feels like I'm not wearing anything. The shade I have on right now is called Layover, and it's just a really nice nude colour, but they have such a varied selection of colours. I'm not going to sit here and swatch them all because there are so many other YouTubers who have swatched these and done these justice, but these just give you some ideas of some of the colours that we have. So we've got your pinks, your nudes, your browns, your oranges, all the colours that a basic bitch like me needs. But yeah, I love these Luxe lipsticks, and I have had some more delivered, but again, that's for another video. Of course, once we have finished making ourselves look and feel fabulous, we need to set everything in place, and the one setting spray that I have been using constantly for the past month, maybe even longer, is the All-Nighter Setting Spray by Urban Decay, but this is the new one, which has pollution protection. I haven't really noticed a difference between this one and the regular all-nighter, but it is nice to know that there is extra ingredients in here that just kind of helps protect your skin from everyday pollution. And as with the original formula, my makeup stays on my face all day. So the all-nighter setting spray has not been beaten for me yet, but I am trying some other things, so hopefully I will be able to find a cheaper alternative that I can recommend. But for now, the all-nighter spray is definitely my holy grail. And that is it. Those are our March favourites. If you like the video and you want me to do an April favourites, then please comment below and let me know, and I will happily do one. But for now, thank you very much for joining us today, and this video hopefully will work out to be a lot shorter than our last one. We've got a couple more videos lined up. We're going to be doing some unboxings. We have some full face first impressions coming. So if you're ready for that, then do subscribe, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Again, I'm really happy that you're here, and I'm really happy that you are watching. But yeah, for now, thank you very much, and we will see you on the next video. Take care, guys. No, I can't. I got the giggles. Oh, now my eyes watering. Fuck. Now, we've just talked about the Revolution Fast Base Sticks. I can't say that quickly without it sounding like I'm talking about dicks. This is definitely far more entertaining doing it with someone than on your own. Right, okay. The thing creaks like a...
Does like creak over there.
So I'm trying not to move. I think it's both. It's the chair, this. I want to find a different stool to sit on because this one's just, no, it's too creaky.